Estate planning, wills and trusts. It's for the rich, right? It's for the famous. I would actually argue that that's one of the biggest misconceptions in the financial planning industry. And if you don't believe me, just look at the stats. But only 20% of you guys have a will. Now, unless you're one of the rich and one of the famous looking at this video, I think I'm speaking to the middle class, the average Joe out there. Give me a moment of your time and I'll explain exactly why I believe it's actually more important for the poor and the middle class, the average citizens such as myself, to do a will and to do estate planning. It's not for the rich, it's not for the famous, although of course they will also benefit from it. Let me explain why it's more for you than for them. Who am I? Well, I'm a certified financial planner with more than a decade of experience. I also run a second company called Ask Mustard to help individuals and families much like yourself achieve financial freedom. So why do I believe an average Joe should prioritize getting a will and an estate plan ASAP? Well, think about this. Even if the rich does not have a will, what happens after they've passed away? Yes, now it's a lengthier process because they've got many assets, many debt to clear up, etc. But they are wealthy at the end of the day, right? So whether that estate takes 2, 3, 4 years, yes, but the beneficiaries, the heirs of the estate, will still benefit from a lot of money because by way of virtue, they still have a lot of money, right? Now, if you, whilst you're alive, have to turn around every cent, how do you think it's going to be for your beneficiaries after your death? So first and foremost, passing away has many costs associated with it. With clever and effective estate planning, you can either minimize those costs or replace them via life insurance and make the policy pay for all the costs associated with your estate. But hang on, that's not the biggest benefit here. If you're viewing this video and you've got kids, maybe around a braai, you say to your brother that please take in my kids if I pass away. Guess what? That's not how it will happen. You need to nominate a guardian, the person or people that will take care of your kids until they become 18 years old. Now, what if you get that wrong? What if it doesn't go to your brother? What if your brother is absolutely the perfect person to look after your kids? What if the courts decide they must rather go to person XYZ? And what we didn't know is that person XYZ's husband has a drinking problem that you just did not know about because you're not close enough to this person. What then? But a further step to that is people think financial planning is just when you are alive. It's not. Because what if you want your kids to still have a medical aid, to still go to school, to still plan for university? Might be all of the things that you actually want for them, but now you prematurely pass away. Are you going to put the burden of all of those costs on this new guardian? Who's going to take your kids in? That's a dream and a hope. Now you've put them in a position where they've got less than a chance to succeed in life because there's no financial backing. Hence why I said, for poor and middle class people, I would say it's much more important than affluent people to get a will, to get an estate plan. Because with an effective estate plan and an effective executable will, you'll achieve these, let's just call it 3 things. First of all, remember what we said. If you're turning around every rand and cent now, imagine your kids after your death. So first of all, we can plan the estate so that whatever you've accumulated now in your lifetime, we extract most of that value because we'll have a plan to minimize the cost of your estate. What do I mean by cost? Executive fees, master fees, administration fees, funeral costs, and even estate duty. There can be a plan to minimize or take all of those costs in many events away. Second of all, again, like I said, if you've got kids, we're going to make sure that the kids go to the rightful guardians. And thirdly, we're going to make sure that it's so well planned that your guardians will have sufficient funding to pay for all the things I've previously mentioned, like school fees, medical aid, and possibly even university fees. So back to what I've said. Estate planning, wills and trusts, those type of things are for us average Joes. The difference is you, The average Joe should take this video as the trigger point in your life to go and sit down with a certified financial planner to discuss your needs, to discuss your estate plan, and of course to draft the will in a professional manner. But most importantly, it needs to be an ongoing conversation. It needs to be a relationship between you and that person to revisit this will. How many times have I heard, "Did we revisit the will, honey, after the second born?" And I promise you 9 out of 10 times, that is a no. So people tend to think whatever they've done, whatever they've set up at the bank 7 years ago is still relevant today. No. A will is something that you look at every single year to ensure that there's no massive changes with assets, there's not a newborn, there's maybe not even a divorce. Many things can happen. Have that relationship so that that person keeps you accountable to stay on track with these type of things. Come on guys, 20% of you can't have a valid will. It needs to be much higher than that. In fact, in my practice, it reaches up to 80% that we do the wills for, and we revisit those wills each and every year, like I've mentioned. In honor of Wills Month, I'm not asking you to contact me and make use of my services. I just care about your legacy, your family's legacy, and most importantly, your kids. So do me this favor, reach out to the person doing your things, get your affairs sorted today whilst you still have the ability to look at this video and do something about your life right now and the legacy you leave behind for, of course, our loved ones.
Are you listening? Damn.